Welcome to the local campaign. I'm Julie Buin. On Monday, April 3rd, the residents of Ottawa Vanier will be going to the polls to elect a new MP in a by-election. This is to replace the late MP Maurice Bélanger, who served his community for more than 20 years. 7 candidates have entered the race to serve as the next federal member for Parliament. They include Neera Dookaran from the Green Party of Canada, Mona Fortier from the Liberal Party of Canada, Adrian Papa from the Conservative Party of Canada, Emily Taman from the New Democratic Party, John the Engineer Turmel running as an independent, also running as an independent, Christina Wilson, and Adrian Wilson from the Libertarian Party of Canada. Invitations to Green Party candidate Neera Dookaran and Libertarian Adrian Wilson were extended, however they weren't able to participate. Tonight we'll hear from 5 of the candidates through a series of taped statements, and they will be presented as they appear on the ballot.
Ottawa Vanier is my home. This is where I was born, where I studied, where I work, and this is where I raised my family of 3 kids and a wonderful husband. I am Mona Fortier, a local businesswoman, a University of Ottawa graduate, and a community leader. I have a proven track record of leadership and experience in health, education, business, and Francophone affairs. Ottawa Vanier is a riding full of small and local businesses and a riding that houses some of Canada's most important public institutions and a place I, like many of you, call home. It is a riding as diverse as Canada, with young families, First Nations, Inuit and Métis communities, seniors, veterans, students, and an incredibly diverse new Canadian population that exemplifies Canada's inclusive social fabric. Ottawa Vanier welcomes those looking to establish roots in a truly inclusive community. Our Franco-Ontarian roots and culture are critical parts of not only our history, but our collective future. But as amazing and as diverse as our riding is, there's still lots to be done and accomplished. We need to focus our efforts on investing for our children's future, ensure that our economy is strong, and our environment work together in harmony. We must ensure that families that do not yet share in the prosperity of Canada's middle class are able to thrive and prosper in our 21st century economy. This means investing in infrastructure projects such as the LRT, making sure Canadians will be able to retire comfortably with much needed reforms to the Canadian pension plan that allows Canadians to retire at 65 years old instead of 67. And providing families with the resources they need done through expansion of Canada's child benefit and historic agreements, investments into childcare and affordable housing. Throughout my life, I have had the honor and privilege to count the Honorable Maurice Bélanger as my mentor, and especially as my great friend. I want to continue his work, defending minority rights and working hard for Ottawa Vanier's constituents. Unfortunately, for the past 10 years, Ottawa Vanier has struggled to get its fair share with our previous Conservative government. But times have changed. We live in a country led by a Prime Minister with a progressive vision, led by a gender-balanced cabinet that understands the intricacies of an evolving economy and recognizes the importance of putting a price on carbon emissions, and led by a hard-working team of MPs who believe in the needs of all, not just the select few. Justin Trudeau knows that a strong Canada starts with a strong middle class, and with your help and support, I look forward to working with him to build a better future for all of us. On April 3rd, vote for Mona Fortier. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Adrian Papa and I'm your Conservative candidate for the Ottawa Vanier by-election. First off, I'd like to start off with just to tell you a bit more about myself. I am an immigrant to Canada. I came here 20 years ago and I grew up on the West Coast. Up until 4 years ago, I moved to Ottawa and now I call it my home. I came here because I wanted a new future for myself, and I completed a degree in business, a master's of business at the University of Ottawa. Now, during that time, when I was here and for a few years afterwards, I lived close to 3 years in Ottawa Vanier. So I know a lot about our community and what are some of the issues there. Now, following my degree, I've also worked for 2 Conservative MPs. So when it comes to the job and what it takes to help constituents, I've seen the whole back end of things, so I'm ready for this job. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to be a voice for the Canadian taxpayer. I'm very worried about the deficits our Liberal government is running and the consequences that's going to have on your taxes and our country's future. My main concern in this by-election is to be able to create jobs in Ottawa Vanier. We look at places like Canada that have a technology hub, and I want to be able to bring jobs here in Ottawa Vanier. The Liberal government has let small businesses down. Those are the businesses, those are the people that create local jobs. The fact that they're not fulfilling their promise to further lower the small business tax rate, and now we see the CPP and EI premiums go up. This will take more money out of small businesses, and that's the money that people are looking to reinvest in their business so they can create local jobs. And my other thing that's very important is home affordability. A lot of young Canadians see that out of reach, and last October in 2016, our Liberal government introduced a one-size-fits-all mortgage stress test that was aimed at the Vancouver and Toronto housing market. I understand that those markets are a concern, but Canadians here in Ottawa Vanier should not be impacted by those rules. And what I mean by that is that for first-time home buyers, the new mortgage stress test will actually cut back the buying power by almost 20%. So someone who would qualify for a house worth $400,000 now could only afford a house that's $320,000. On April 3rd, I want you to make your vote count. I feel like just people in Ottawa Vanier are just being taken for granted. And I am the only candidate who, on the record, I've put forward that I will donate 10% of my gross MP wages if I am elected. A lot of great organizations do a lot of great work in Ottawa Vanier, and I will donate close to $17,000 to organizations that help those vulnerable in Ottawa Vanier and make our lives better. In this by-election, please make your vote count, vote on April 3rd, and vote for Adrian Papa. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Taman, your NDP candidate. I'm running to be the MP for Ottawa Vanier because I believe it's our government's duty to build a fairer, more inclusive society. We should be focused on creating stable, well-paying jobs. We should be listening to the needs of all our communities. But right now, many of our communities are feeling overlooked and ignored. People are frustrated with elected leaders who prioritize the needs of the well-connected over all the people they actually represent. In the last election, Ottawa Vanier voted for a government that would work for all Canadians rather than pitting us against each other. A government that would make our country more progressive. But now the Prime Minister is under tremendous pressure from the President Trump situation and the Trump-style politics being used by some in the Conservative Party. If we don't strengthen the progressive opposition, our government will not have the backup it needs to stand strong in the face of these enormous pressures that want to take us backwards. And that's where I come in. I grew up in a family with a strong history of public service. It's part of who I am. As a former federal prosecutor and community activist, I know how to get to the heart of a problem, identify real solutions, and put them into play. I'm committed to working with all levels of government and across party lines to make sure the needs of our communities are actually met. Ottawa Vanier needs an MP who will work tirelessly with the community on local issues and has the skill to defend our interests on a national level. The government won't change in this by-election, but if you elect me, I will hold the government to the commitments it made to us in the last election and truly represent the needs of all the people in this riding. On April 3rd, I urge you to seize this opportunity to strengthen the progressive opposition. Vote for me, Emily Taman. I promise I won't let you down.
Hi, I'm John the Engineer Turmel, and it'll be on the ballot, the engineer. When they allowed nicknames, I submitted it, and they said, how can you prove the world knows you as the engineer? And I said, check the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, I'm here to complain about Canada's national debt. This is it. Notice it started to grow in 1974. And since then, it's grown hundreds of billions, and we've paid at least $1 trillion in debt service over the last 40-some years since 1974. Now, take a look at the Ontario debt. Same thing, 1974. Then the Ontario debt started to grow out of control. Oh, take a look at the Quebec debt. 1974. Same thing, started to grow again. Now, this is not just Canada. Take a look at France's debt. 1974. What happened in 1974? Well, I'm not going to tell you. If you want to know, you go to my website, smartestmanonearth.ca. See the video there about what happened in 1974, because I don't have the time. But I will say that I'm the closest education to Mr. Spock on this planet. Systems engineering and mathematics of gambling. And who used to figure out the odds on Star Trek? So I'm trying to tell you that you've been ripped off about 70 grand a piece. About $2 trillion we've been taxed for debt service since 1974. And if they hadn't done that, we'd all have 70 grand on our bank accounts instead of the bankers' bank accounts. You want to know how they did it? Go to smartestmanonearth.ca. Number 2, got to talk about climate change. You all remember the hockey stick graph, right? The famous hockey stick graph, and they're going, oh, look, it's terrible. It's going to go all the way up to here. Then in 1998, it stopped. They call it a pause. But they were caught fudging the data, and they used a trick to hide the decline. So it was a decline, not a pause, they were hiding. But the big lie is this. The actual graph had the medieval warming period way hotter than today. And that's when Greenland was green, and you grow stuff there. And they had grapes in Britain when it was way warmer than now without all this CO2. So the fact that CO2 is spiking and the temperature has cut off is trying to tell you you've been lied to. So you got a whole bunch of politicians in all the major parties still fooled by the trick to hide the decline, including the dropout engineering student Justin Trudeau, who would have never graduated if he couldn't master thermometers. So we got lied to by the people who fudged the data. If you go check medieval warm period, you will find the truth. And yet, you bought this, and you're now paying carbon taxes to prevent yourself from something that isn't causing warming? Yeah, what a bunch of dummies. And that's why I'm the smartest man on earth.ca, and I didn't fall for it when the truth came out. I did before the truth came out, but once they lied, I knew it was over. So I just had to crash that myth with so much money being wasted and remind you about your 70 G's that can get you back.
Hello everybody, my name is Christina Wilson. I'm running for Member of Parliament for Ottawa Vanier, and I'm running as an independent, and that means that I don't have to stick to any party policies. That means I can represent you guys to the best of my ability. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about industry automation and universal basic income. So I think you guys have probably noticed around that, like, the future is now, and the robots are taking over. Sorry, I know it sounds scary, but don't be scared. It's going to be a good thing. So just like at McDonald's, where the cashiers are now a robot, this is going to happen in all industries. Driving, fast food, doctors, teachers, farmers, bankers, pharmacists, sales clerk, office staff, construction, even military, all that stuff. You're not safe. I know. But what's going to happen is if we allow universal basic income to come in, the money that the corporations will save on labor costs can actually go towards everybody's basic income. So our food needs will be met, our shelter needs will be met, clothes, just everything that gives us anxieties on the daily. And I think this would totally revolutionize Canada's human resources. Like, we're valuable, and maybe just, working till our backs break all our life is not the greatest thing. So I just want you guys to just think about universal basic income and industry automation, how that's going to affect your life. And remember to vote for me on April 3rd.
We thank you for watching the local campaign, and we hope that these statements provided some insight into the candidates' platforms as we go into this local by-election. And don't forget, get out and vote on Monday, April 3rd.